Well, hello. This is Jen Phillips April with Right Words Marketing, and I'm here with Rita Morales of ritamorales.com. Rita is a business and brand strategist, and we're going to talk today about getting in your own way.
Mhm.
As entrepreneurs,
Definitely.
we all do that, right? At some point. And I want to just, I'll share this moment. I'll just share this for a moment we're in this beautiful surroundings outside. Rita and I are both out enjoying the great outdoors today. It's pretty funny, opposite sides of the country. Uh, but I was recently someone asked me to be on a podcast, and as many of you may know, I do a lot of content coaching. I've taught a lot of social media workshops, and it always comes down to content and what do you create in your content and what do you share with people. And in this podcast interview, she asked me to send her 5 questions, and I totally spaced it. I'm like, what should she ask me? So that was a sort of great example of getting in my own way. I hope that truck isn't too noisy. But
It's
so,
okay.
Rita, do you have a story about time that you got in your own way, or examples that you see happening a lot?
Well, I think that people get in their own way when they're not really clear. Well, that's not true because you're really clear on who you serve, right? So it's not necessarily that you're not really sure about who you're serving, but I do find that if people are not sure, I think they get distracted way more,
Oh,
right?
yes.
Because then the shiny object kicks in. They start to opt into everybody's freebies, and then they
Yes.
start listening to all these different people and their opinions. And, I think it's good to have a nice, healthy balance um, that is really distracting.
The trash can or trash
Yeah.
truck.
I think it's good to have a healthy balance of opinions, but you really shouldn't take in too many people. You get one expert from one field and just kind of listen to them for that particular thing. And I find that sometimes people just try to listen to everyone and including their competition. And I don't really subscribe to that methodology.
I agree. It gets really confusing if you are diluting too much with too much information. There's no shortage of information out there. So it'd be
Right.
so much easier to, pick, if you want to sign up for 5 different freebies from 5 different people and kind of get a sense of them for a few weeks or something, fine. But
Mm-hmm.
ultimately, you're going to need to pick a plan and go with that plan, whatever that
Exactly.
plan is. And there are lots of different ways to incorporate, different methods
Right.
to your business.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't want to keep changing tactics in the midst.
Right, and then it becomes stagnant, and then their business doesn't go anywhere. So I always tell my clients, make sure you're keeping your eyes on your own paper. Like I
Hmm.
totally think that you should do some market research when you first start, but I feel like you don't want to do too much of it because then you start to emulate your business over what they're doing. And I feel like that can in itself be a really big sticking point for a
Hmm.
lot of people. And so really maybe just looking at them, getting an idea, but not following them to the point of mimicking their services and their offerings because they have develop their business to be what they want it to be. And I find
Right.
that a lot of people, they try to mimic that because they seem successful.
Right.
And, that's just what we're seeing, and
Oh,
they
yeah.
may not.
Right. You never know what's on the back end. And the whole
Mhm.
point of building your own business is to build your own business, not someone else's business.
Right. But I think it's hard when you first start because you think, they know that they want to do this business, but they're really not sure how to structure it and
Hmm.
how to get it together to where it makes sense for them. And, I think that's where it's helpful to deal with, I like coach new business owners. So
Hmm.
I find that just going through that process of kind of diving in who they're serving
Hmm.
and how they can best serve them is really eye-opening for a lot of new entrepreneurs.
Oh, yes. Because it's one thing to have 17 different options, but then let's narrow that down to the 3 that are actually going to work for you.
Exactly. Yeah, because you can have. I feel like for especially with me, I do offer web design, but I have different tiers of packages. So I think it's okay to offer the same service in different tiers.
Hmm.
So you can have those 17 offerings, but it would still be under that web design or whatever category,
Right.
without it being overwhelming. Oh, I offer this, I offer that, too much stuff. And then you're not able to really serve anyone. And again, you're stuck, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because then you don't know how to even market yourself because you're speaking to everyone.
Yeah. And everyone who eats is not your customer.
Right. Yeah. I think, too, that a lot of new entrepreneurs, they feel like they need to take on every single client that comes in and every single project. And sometimes that, I feel like it can be a good strategy initially, only because it helps you define who you don't want to work with, right?
Which is valuable.
Yeah. So
Very valuable.
yeah, because I think a lot of coaches, they say, you're only going to try to find your target people and this particular person. But sometimes, the person isn't even a real person because we're talking about avatars, not necessarily legit, type of people. But then, secondly, what if you can't find that person? And,
right.
And then the other people are the ones that keep coming to you. You will never know that those are the wrong people, until you work with them.
Right. And, for that avatar or customer profiling, just so for people who may be listening to this, with our trash trucks symphony going on, is that a concept of who is listening to you or paying attention to you and who do you want to be working with. So you kind of map it out literally on paper or on your computer screen with some psychodemographics like their income and some basic demographic information like their income and age group and things like that. But also like what are their what do they like to do? What are their interests? Why would they be coming to you? Like,
right. What are their problems? Right. Exactly. And how can you solve them? And I think that, figuring that stuff out really can help you in so many ways. And that's, I think, where a lot of new entrepreneurs miss out. I know that for me, I think for the first year and a half of my business, I wasn't really clear on that myself. I was still in the phase of taking on every person who came in. So I understand that mentality. It's like desperate times call for desperate measures. I'll help you all.
Right.
Yeah.
But when you start narrowing it and focusing it, it becomes so much easier to market yourself.
Right. And well, when you hit that when you get to work with that ideal person, I think it then opens up the possibilities like that was the best experience ever. I want more of that, please.
Right. Right.
So,
right.
Yeah. But you have to go through those, bad times in order to hit that, that good clients.
Yeah. And you have to be, super cognizant.
And aware that those aren't the ones that you want, right? Because then you can tweak your copy and your offerings to make sure that it kind of discourages those particular type of people from coming to you.
Right, who may be totally perfect fit for someone else.
Oh,
but just
definitely.
Not you.
So, yeah. It doesn't mean they're like a bad person. It's just like, well, you're just not a great fit for my style.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and being aware of that and being okay with that,
Yeah, definitely.
That's a really good, and sometimes I'm like, just pretend, pretend in an ideal world, who would you really be wanting to work with? And what would you really want to be doing? And if you just pay attention to that, even for a few weeks or a month or so, that can really, instead of saying, no, but I have to work with everyone.
Right.
You don't have to.
Right.
You don't have to, especially if you're a service provider. You can't work with so many people at a time anyway.
Exactly. Because then the pricing too, it's a factor in who you're going to work with. But do you do like any journaling or anything? I think that sometimes people should do some introspection and kind of figure out who that person is just by journaling.
Oh yeah. Great tip.
Yeah. Just like writing down who is your ideal but I feel like working with a professional kind of helps you, because when I work with my clients, I am asking them questions, and I'm sure you are too.
Absolutely.
That they would have never thought of, So I think that that's really beneficial. And having had another designer kind of walk me through my branding process was really beneficial for me, because she was able to kind of challenge me on certain points and say, let's dive deeper into this, or, let's explore that a little bit more. So it was super helpful for me.
Oh yeah. You can't, having that third party, that outsider of your eyes look at something and walk you through it is really invaluable.
Yeah, because before that, I was trying all the brand exercises, all the, everybody has their worksheets, and every person who does branding does it so different. And, I think it's really just trying to figure out the best way for you.
Right.
And for me personally, I needed that person to challenge me, to kind of help me discover it for myself.
Hmm.
Because up until then I was working they were in a specific industry, but they were, everybody. I would just work with everybody.
And now you're in a different place.
Hmm. Now I get to work with health and wellness entrepreneurs mostly. Some of them are professionals. So a lot of them are doctors that
Hmm.
are transitioning into the online world. Doctors or like very highly degreed people who then decide that they want to try to do an online business,
Hmm.
but they're very skilled in that area, but when it comes to taking it online, they don't know what to really do. So
Oh, yeah.
that's where we get to dive into those type of things, and strategize on how to overcome these points of distraction, because that's always a big issue with them.
Oh, yes. Especially if you're kind of new to coming onto the online business world.
Hmm. Facebook in itself can be the most major distraction ever.
Oh, yeah. You've got to be highly focused when you go to Facebook, unless it's your off time and you're just on Facebook.
Right, right. Yeah, or like on your phone. But I hear people saying all the time, like, I come on Facebook at this particular time, I spend 15 minutes and then
Mhm.
I get off, and I think you are so disciplined, you know?
Yes, timing. I'm a big one for setting a timer, especially when it's
Mm,
something like Facebook, when you're like, oh, I haven't checked in my group today, and it's 11 o'clock or it's noon or whatever, and I'm
right.
like, all right, 15 minutes. You know.
So you set a physical timer, which I love.
Yes, I have set. I don't always, but sometimes it's more of a mental and take note of what time it is, and then I'm like, okay, because I also do that when I'm writing.
Hmm.
Especially if I'm stuck on something, I'm like, okay, I'm going to set this timer. And are you familiar with the Pomodoro technique?
Yes,
Okay.
definitely. Yes.
Yeah, so you actually set a timer for 25 minutes and you write for 25 minutes. And you take a 5-minute break, come back and do another case or another session. And if I'm really, like, say I'm really tired or I just feel really stuck around it, I might just say, okay, I'm doing 10 minutes
Right,
or
right.
15 minutes of writing this piece. And by then, if I'm still not making any progress, then I can take a longer break.
Like,
Um,
would you take a walk, or what would you like? What
Right,
would
like
be
just like
your?
leave the desk because clearly
Yes,
I'm not
definitely.
doing anything productive.
Right,
So
right.
just take a walk, if I can do that, or even walk on a treadmill, or
Hmm.
if the weather's bad or something like that.
Talk to somebody else. I feel like that helps sometimes
Yes,
too.
yes,
Yes,
just sort of
definitely.
get away and do something a little bit different because obviously sitting in the chair isn't making it
Right.
happen. You
Yeah,
know,
I have that too when I'm coding stuff, because in addition to designing them, I build them. And so when you have something that's really in depth, like a coding issue, my best advice is just to get up and walk away, because it's, always the answer always comes to you when you leave, and
oh
you're like,
yeah,
oh yeah, so
right. Yeah, because if you just sit there and like try to get it out, it's not going to happen.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, I guess that would work with, thinking about my clients and solutions for them. I usually come up with, answers for them when I'm not on the computer. A lot of times when you're on the computer, you're focused on your own business, or at least for me in the day, the way that because I have children, my day is so fragmented. In the mornings, I get my kids off to school and then I'll sit down to work, but I won't work on my client work first. I always work on my own business first. And I think that's the opposite of what most people do. And the reason why I do that is because for years I was I was neglecting my own business.
Great
And
point.
yeah, I was putting my clients' businesses first. And so in order to really grow your business, I think you need to make that a priority first,
You
because
do.
your client work is not going to go anywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
No, that's a very good, that. And in this freelancing world, we always hear that. Well, when do you do your client work versus
mhm.
you're working on your business? It's a
Yeah,
never-ending balance for sure. I try to do
exactly.
at least an hour of working a day for my business.
Yeah, and I think that you do a great job, obviously, like connecting and staying connected with people. I really, I think that that's one of the most important things that people can do, because you can share all the posts and all the, content in the world, but really creating those connections and relationships is probably one of the most important things that you can do.
Oh, I agree. I mean, I feel like I've built my whole business on relationships, and I'm such a fan of it. And you know, yeah, we can do everything online, but you live in
Yeah,
California, and I live in Pennsylvania currently, and we've never met in person, but we've
right.
had multiple conversations.
Exactly. I love, and that's the best thing about, this online world. I've had clients all over the world, Germany,
Hmm.
Australia, and without this ability, I wouldn't have gotten to meet them. And I just started recently doing some local networking, but for the whole year that I've been back in California, I haven't done, I recently just did two, like last week was my
Oh,
first local networking, because as you know, it gets kind of lonely working at home. So I
right,
wanted to get out and like meet some real people who have
right.
like common interests as me, because I left corporate. When I left corporate, I moved to Ohio and I lived there for 2 years. And when I came back, all of my friends are still in corporate, so I really didn't have those entrepreneur friendships, which I think are still very valuable again.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. It really
Mm,
is like staying in contact with people who support you and understand some of the things you're going through.
yes,
So
definitely.
masterminds are great for that.
Love it.
People you meet, in various Facebook groups or LinkedIn. I mean, people you
Hmm.
can have regular conversations with. So
Yeah,
invaluable. So,
definitely.
what's your best advice for getting out of your way?
Oh goodness, that's hard. I feel like when you say getting out of your way, we mean the shiny object, right? Like
Yeah,
let
whether
me
it's the
just
shiny
clarify.
object or your negative chatter in your head,
Mm.
whatever. I mean, because that's a whole other one.
Right, right. Well, I do a daily journaling practice. Remember I was mentioning it earlier, because it's something that I think is very valuable if you're using it. It's not just about my personal stuff. I use it for my business stuff as
Hmm.
well. So, and it can take a long time, because what will happen is the first thing that I do is I'll talk about any feelings that I'm having related to like my personal or business life. And then I'll go into, I don't know if you've ever heard of this before, but kind of like mapping out your ideal day.
Oh
I,
yeah,
I
yeah, I've
try
heard.
to do that every day.
Oh, good. I
Yeah.
haven't
And
done that in a while. I fell off the wagon with that.
yeah. And then I might answer, like in that I might answer some questions that maybe I'm struggling with, like any like personal feelings or topics that I'm struggling with that are related to business. And then I'll go through and I'll do like a whole page of affirmations. So it could be a
Love
long
it.
process, like 20 to 30 minutes, really pretty much every day, which I feel is good, because there's some gratitude in there. There's some
Mhm.
affirmations inside of it. But a lot of times I think that we get so stuck in our heads, and by journaling, you're able to get it out and kind of confront it. And then I'm able to kind of step away from that. You write it down and then it's like, okay, it's over. I'm not going to obsess on it
Right.
anymore, because that I'm going to, like I'm just in my back of my mind thinking these thoughts, and so
Yes.
getting it out, I think, is step one for me. And another thing that I like to do is, write down the 3 goals for the day. So then I'm just really focused. And then I have weekly ones as well. And these are like my non-negotiables. These aren't related to client things. So it's like every day post on Instagram, every day, do this. Every week you need to be sending at least one email to your list. Daily, try to sell, like every day, try to sell something. So these are the things that I think will help keep people focused, because
Right. And
yeah,
without momentum. Right.
yes, and it's for your business. It's not for your clients, because your client to-do list is totally different, right? But this
Hmm.
is for your own business. What are you going to do? And then that, I think, will help you move forward in your business and get out of your own way. Because, a lot of times, I know when I first started, I had a lot of issues with imposter complex and comparison and confidence issues. And so these things
Yes.
have helped me move past those issues that I was dealing with.
Yeah, that's really great. That's really
Hmm.
great. And I do think the journaling helps a lot with that. the imposter syndrome is such a common thing. I mean, it affects everyone, and
Right.
and at every level.
Right, and that's why I tell
It
people
never goes away.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, don't really look at your competition, because then that's when the comparison starts. You start to say,
Right.
oh, I love that offer that they're doing. I should do something like that. That would be great, but that's not what, when you're defining your ideal clients, like that's not the thing that's going to help them,
Right, right. What is it that's going to help your clients? What problems do you help them
Right.
solve the most?
Right.
Yes.
And so like, yes, that sounds brilliant, but it might not be perfect for your audience. And I think that's where people they get caught up, just the comparison and the imposter, all the way, like, dang, why couldn't I think of that? It was such a great
Right.
idea.
Or feeling like you have to accomplish it all at once,
Right, right.
Well, we started this 3 months ago. Why aren't,
Why am I
we
not
there?
a millionaire yet?
Right.
I see so-and-so said they're making 100,000 a month.
day.
Yeah.
Right.
Why can't I do it?
Right.
I must not be as talented. And, so one thing that I try to tell like my brand new entrepreneurs, and I don't know if you do this, but I try to tell them just focus on one profile until you get that one down. Because if they try to start with like 2 or 3, then it becomes so overwhelming again.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Pick one, create that one profile of who your ideal client is, and then the questions they're asking, what problems you can help them solve. It helps you create an offer or 3
The writing,
for them.
all the copy
of it
comes
is
easier.
so much easier. Yes.
Definitely. Do you ever tell your people to like go do research? Like I've heard people say this, the ways they do research is like go into Facebook groups and or on like Amazon and search for those topics. Do you think that those are valuable just to hear what people are maybe struggling with?
Oh, I think it is very valuable, especially going into Facebook groups. And then because I've been online since 2005 and have such a background in keyword research, because I've done so much around that. I'm a big fan of just going to Google Keyword Planner. I've created a couple of short videos, little tutorials on how to use it.
I'm gonna check it out.
It's just like really what is really simple stuff. If you've not done it, it's like magic. If you don't know it exists, right? Because you want to get the language of your person. You need to know what questions are they asking. And I do that still today. I was just on the phone earlier with a client, and she's really expanding her online model. She does in-person like reading tutorials, for like kids who are struggling with reading. And but she also has another market for another piece of her business, and bringing that online, that say, okay, like we're speaking to someone very specific, and but what are the questions these people are asking? Right. I mean, if you go to Google and you're looking for a reading tutor, let's say, for your kid, you're probably looking for like a reading tutor, right?
You're just putting in
your town,
right?
Yeah, you're putting a reading tutor in your town, or reading tutor in your zip code, or something like that. And so what is it that people are searching for? And then what deeper questions they have? Like, what are those deeper things, why do they want a reading tutor?
Why do they need a tutor? Right. How are they feeling? Right.
Exactly. Like, what's that piece of it? Because, of course, that always gets into the writing, is the psychology behind what's going on here. Little Johnny isn't doing well in school and is struggling. And, the teacher said, they might have something wrong. A problem.
And then, and what do they need to solve that problem? Have you seen Answer the Public? Have you used that at all?
Oh, I have. Yes, I have, but it's been a long time.
I like it because it shows you the exact questions, right, related to that topic. And so I think that it's because it's based on actual Google searches.
Right.
So, I think that that's a good resource. Some people say that YouTube is a good one as well. So, just as far as like figuring out who you're serving, getting out of your own way, because now once you do that research, now who you're really speaking to.
Exactly. I started my first website about dog treat recipes because so many people were searching for dog treat recipes. So I started creating dog treat recipes, and I gave them away on this website.
I love that.
I mean, I grew that website to almost 100,000 people a month. through writing
Wow.
content
Yeah, yeah.
that answer questions people are searching for within that topic.
Just for the recipe, not for the actual product, just for the
For the
recipes.
recipe, but then I also started getting a lot of questions about different dog nutrition things and different
Mm-hmm.
dog, different dog issues. So I started writing. I always just answer the questions. I said, I'm no veterinarian, but
This is my
this is
take on the
here's what
research,
I
right?
had. Yeah, here's what I have found in researching it. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
You don't do it anymore, or you still
I
have it?
don't. I mean, I still have it, but I'm going to be closing down the site. But
Yeah,
I haven't touched it in years. I mean, literally years. But when I
yeah.
last looked at it, it still had like 10,000 visitors a month.
Well, because people are still searching for it, especially now, in the
Right.
time that people want to find natural alternatives to the processed packaged foods,
Right.
especially for their dogs. I think that's good.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's just the power of answering questions people are asking for, which is kind of really simple, but people
Yes,
often
definitely.
don't want to do it. They forget to do that. It's like so basic, and yet,
Mm-hmm.
you
Right,
know,
right in front of your face. Yeah.
right.
I think that a lot of times, because as entrepreneurs, we have to take on everything, every aspect of it, the content part becomes a little bit overwhelming,
Oh
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, because like you said, like you don't know what to say, and or you don't know what to tell people to ask you, right? Because
Right.
you're like, I know that I know my stuff. I just don't know what to say online, and I don't know the right questions for you to ask me, to kind of, get us there.
Right. Well, I was thinking of her on this particular. So I was thinking of her audience, and I was thinking of what offer I had that would make a good
Mm-hmm.
match.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yes.
but when I'm doing like content workshops, I always talk about buckets of content. Like, what are the buckets of content? Like, if you were just to do a brain dump of
Right.
everything on paper, then what would they be?
Right.
And that's just like a
So then
starting point.
you
And
take
then you can,
those particular topics, and then they would narrow them down.
right.
Mm. So then would you have like subtopics, or
Yes.
okay. So how
Subtopics, which
many
will
would
still
you
be
recommend?
groupings. I mean, most people are still going to have between 4 and 6 kind of overarching themes.
Right.
And then you're going to have subtopics in that, and you're going to have, and out of that's going to come, actual, this is my blog post topic or my title,
Right.
you break it down. You could tier it, or you could
Hmm.
mind map it, like whatever you want to do.
However, to get you
Um,
there, right?
right. You can take pieces of paper and mark it all out. It doesn't matter. The process is the same. But, what is it going to take to get that information out of your head and onto,
I
somewhere
love
where you can
that.
use this? And then
Yes.
that's where like the keyword research comes in. It's like, oh, these pieces are really searched for. This particular topic is searched for a lot by your audience. And
Hmm.
here's 30 different keyword phrases. Let's turn each of those into a blog post topic or Facebook Live topic or both.
I love that. I definitely love it, because I have struggled myself with what to post online, what to what content to write, and so I've just recently started to narrow in, and okay, I need to do more of this stuff, and and it's okay to have the other some mindset pieces in there, but
Mm-hmm.
I think that for me some tutorials and some training videos and things would be the best things, but I for some reason have moved away from them for a while, and now I'm like, wait a minute, why are you not doing this? So I think that having somebody to kind of guide you and kind of help you with that piece is very important, because content is one of the most important things that you can have, right? Like you said, it's driving the traffic, it's bringing the people to you,
Yeah.
because one of the things that I firmly believe is that you can have the most beautiful website in the world. And this is coming from a designer. You can have the most beautiful website in the world, but if you are not driving traffic to it, it is useless.
Right.
And a lot of people don't see that. They think that when they start, the first thing they need is a website, and it is not what you first need. Sorry, designers, but it's not.
Right. And the same can be said of a sales page. I can write you the best sales page on the planet, but if no one sees it.
Right. Then what's the point? What's the point of wasting, wasting your money and your time to put it together? And so I think the first step is really discovering your brand, who you're talking to, and getting that. I like the keyword research and getting deep into the topics so
Mm-hmm.
that you can drive more traffic to it and hopefully build a better audience that's kind of not kind of, but is definitely focused in on what you're offering.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And a lot of times people don't want to start there because it doesn't sound like it's profitable or whatever. Or they want to have
Right.
this beautiful buttoned up package online that,
Right. Yeah, but then, it's not going to help you if it's not, it is a big undertaking, and a lot of people, the biggest problem I see my clients struggle with is the copy. The copy can delay the whole project for months
right,
because they haven't really gotten clear on what they're doing and what they should say.
right.
And they don't want to hire a copywriter, so then it comes down to, okay, they have to write it and they're stuck.
Right.
So they're getting in their own way for,
Absolutely.
definitely.
Absolutely. Which is why I started off for a copy review package, which I
Yes.
just ask a few questions. Let me look at what you have, and then, I'll
I
work with
love that.
because that's just like a much more, a budget friendly option for a lot of people. But
So then they just submit their stuff to you and you edit it basically and kind of give them notes and kind of pointers somewhere to go next.
right.
That's
right.
great. I love that. I didn't even know that you offered that, so I'm glad that you mentioned it.
Yeah. So you really have to, but they always start. I mean, my process with when I'm writing copy is always, okay, who's your ideal target market?
Right,
What is it
right.
we're selling specifically in this particular thing?
Exactly.
It always comes back to your audience.
Definitely. And, like we said, knowing them, and then that will help you get out of your own way and, stop stumbling and, hopefully to be successful, right?
Right. Well, it's one foot in front of the other. You just keep doing it. Just keep doing it.
Definitely.
It's going to shift. It's going to shift as you evolve, as your business will evolve. It's normal.
Yeah. I mean, and even if it doesn't seem like it's happening right away, because I think that a lot of people, they feel like, especially on social, I posted here today, nothing happened. So then tomorrow they don't do anything.
Oh, I know. Well,
yeah.
That's a classic, right? Well, I made 5 Facebook posts and I didn't make any sales.
Right.
If it only were that easy. If it were that easy, everybody would be doing it and making
You're like, 5 Facebook posts? Wow.
You mean today or last week?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And is a deeper question, are your people even on Facebook? Like, I mean,
right.
We need to figure out where they are too, not just who they are, but where are they spending their time?
Where are they? Because yes, if you want to, you might be better off on LinkedIn.
Exactly.
Or Snapchat, depending on your audience.
Oh, I hear so many people going into Snapchat, and I haven't figured it out yet, to be honest with you.
I honestly haven't given it more than 10 minutes of a look, because you've got to focus your energy.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I mean, you can't. I think that's part of the thing too, is that people think they have to be everywhere, and I don't think that you really have to be everywhere. You can share your content everywhere, but that doesn't mean you need to spend all of your time on social every day.
No, you shouldn't, because that's not going to be,
that's not productive at all either. And another thing that I always say that some people do is that they'll, especially creatives, they'll market themselves, market, get a client, they disappear. Mm-hmm. And then, that's where the feast and famine phenomenon comes in, where they end up, working with that client, working their butts off. And then, oh no, I need another client. Let me market,
Yes.
So
yes.
It's a vicious cycle.
Well, it is. And you want to set up that, so more of a system. A systematic process of marketing. It doesn't have to take, 10 hours a day.
I agree. And that's why I like to just get it out of the way. Like, here's the 3 things I need to do. Let's get it done and then move on. And I check in, maybe later on in the day, but that doesn't mean I'm spending my whole day there. It's a good break from the work sometimes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, great, Rita. Thank you so much for chatting. And so if people can find you at your name, ritamorales.com.
Yes, definitely.
And your Facebook group, which is, what's the name?
Branding Your Business.
Branding Your Business. Great.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
And my favorite platform ever is Instagram. And
is it?
Yes, I love it. I'm over there. Rita S. Morales is my username over there.
Okay. Rita S. Morales. Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Yes.
Well, hopefully our trash truck symphony? Was it too noisy? I have no
And
idea
now I
how.
have an airplane going by.
It's the beauty of real-time chats out in the great outdoors.
Exactly. Totally unplanned, but it turned out really good.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Great. Well, thank you so much, Rita.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Jen. Have a great day.
You too. You
All right.
too. All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.